Hello, everybody. All right, welcome to the Mikestand. Happy Tuesday to everybody. I'm going to give people a chance to come in as we're just getting started here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put on some music for you guys for a couple minutes, take care of a couple of things, and then when I get back, we'll talk about what's on tap for tonight. Let me just go ahead and do this. And I'll be right back. All right, as we are now coming up on the 3 minute mark here, I guess we'll go ahead and start talking about what's on tap for tonight. So, got a couple of articles from Bounding into Comics, and it looks like we are finally caught up there. We'll, of course, have the wrestling wrap up a little later on with This Day in Each History. And hope, of course. So why don't we go over what's on tap? Let me just talk a little bit about what we're going to be. So the two articles we're going to be covering. So Disney renews activist series The Proud Family, Loud and Proud for a third season. Now this is basically basically a newer version of The Proud Family from like about 10, 15 years ago. But this time with a much more harder edge to it. It's more about trying to send a message than really entertain people. But we'll look at that. Also, there's a comic book shop owner by the name of Rod Lamberti, who is basically admits that the new Marvel and DC comic sales are increasingly slowing down. Again, that's been a huge topic over the last, of course, couple of years here. A lot of people have talked about it, including myself. But with that, why don't we go ahead and get started on let's go ahead and get started on the show here. Let me just check one more thing, and then we will go ahead and get into the articles here. Alrighty then. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. We are coming up on 5 minutes now. All right. So Disney renews activist series The Proud Family, Louder and Prouder, for third season. Article by Nerdigans Inc. published yesterday, the 26th, television. So, in a further doubling down on their promotion of the message um, over quality entertainment, Disney has officially renewed the activism centric The Proud Family, Louder and Prouder, for a third season. House of Mouse confirmed the series' continuation during a preview of their upcoming animated offerings given during the recent Annecy International Film Festival. With this third season renewal, Louder and Prouder will surpass the total number of seasons produced as part of the original The Proud Family series. However, as the reboot produces less episodes per season than its predecessor, the original still stands at a higher total episode count. Like with its first two seasons, the next run of The Proud Family, Louder and Prouder, of episodes will be overseen by original series creator and executive producer Bruce W. Smith, as well as co-executive producers Ralph Farquhar and Calvin Brown Jr. Unfortunately, it is under their watch that the series, particularly its second season, has become a heavily criticized political soapbox for radical left-wing ideologies. Mm-hmm. Yeah, nothing screams "watch me or else" than a 12, 13-year-old girl looking all like she's about to beat the you know what out of you, right? Uh, Nothing screams, yeah, this is a good watch. You should go ahead and watch it. Nothing more than seeing what looks like a 12, 13-year-old girl ready to beat you up. Yeah, that's a real that's real appealing there, people. For example, in the second season's third episode, the series' core cast of kids perform a slam poetry number espousing their debate team's stance that the United States government should pay reparations to black people in order to apologize for once subjecting them to the practice of slavery. Quote, slaves built this country, unquote, the team at one point proclaims. Quote, the descendants of slaves continue to build it, and we, the descendants of slaves in America, have earned reparations for their suffering and continue to earn reparations every moment we spend submerged in a systemic prejudice, racism, and white supremacy that America was founded with and still has not atoned for. Unquote. Well, if you really feel that way, why not just go back to Africa? I'm sorry, but I know that might sound a little racist, but if America is such a bad country, because you're not, yeah, you may in like here in California where I live, you may get some, bleeding heart white people to fall for your victim garbage, and yeah, you might get them to like, you know, pay you, but if you really believe that America is that bad, why not just go back? Because again, originally the black people didn't want to come here in the first place. They were slaves, okay? And let me tell you this, there are a lot of black people who are a lot better off than I am, and I'm white, okay? So don't feed me your victim garbage, you know. Um, if America is just so bad for black people, maybe then black people should just leave, go back to Africa, you know. And I don't personally believe that's a racist statement. You know, you have the means to do so, so do it. Likewise, in the season's 10th episode, the series' resident in smaller quotes activist character, a title explicitly given to her by Disney themselves, Maya leads a Black Lives Matter protest demanding the removal of a statue depicting Smithville's founder due to his history as a slave owner. Eventually, the town's mayor, Wizard Kelly, calls on a squadron of riot police to arrest the protesters. In turn, the activists respond with a chant often heard at real world BLM events. Quote, "We don't see no riot here. Why are you in riot gear?" Because you are disturbing the peace. As the officers move in to arrest the kids, Maya's black father can even be told telling his white husband, quote, "Do something with your white privilege," unquote. Oh boy. Notably, in response to criticism on this um, in smaller quote Juneteenth episode, the aforementioned Smith would himself acknowledge that he and his team were, quote, thrilled to have the opportunity to stoke the conversation, unquote. More like stoke a fire of hatred, towards white people. All episodes of The Proud Family and its sequel, The Proud Family Louder and Prouder, are both available to stream on Disney Plus. As of this writing, no release date has been confirmed for the third season. All right, so there we go with that one. Let's see now. So 12 minutes 51 seconds. All right. Maybe this. All right. So getting ready to move on to the next article we're going to do. Okay, this one will last us a little longer here. First one went kind of quickly, but see this next one. And as always, guys, if you guys can, guys haven't already, if you can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here, that'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I will do the best I can to answer said questions. Comic shop owner admits new Marvel and DC comic sales, quote, are increasingly slowing down. Article by Jay. Rob Lamberti, the owner of Rodman Comics in Kenny, Iowa, recently admitted that new comic book sales, quote, are increasingly slowing down, unquote. In an op-ed about the state of the comic book shop at Bleeding Cool, Lamberti admits that his customers are increasingly not purchasing new comics. Lamberti explained, quote, new comic sales here in the comic store are increasingly slowing down. The recent death of Miss Marvel in Amazing Spider-Man was not a big deal at the store, unquote. He added, quote, the latest issues of Iron Man and Hulk are low sellers. The characters have fans, but few are interested in their latest adventures, unquote. He made similar comments about the new Green Lantern series, noting that at his shop, quote, Green Lantern did not have a stunning return, unquote. Lamberti um, would also take issue with some of the marketing strategies employed by Marvel and DC for their new comics. He notes that most recent Avengers main title was not selling well, but instead of trying to fix the problem with the main title, he noted that Marvel came, quote, out with so many spin offs, people are confused. Avengers Beyond, Avengers War Across Time, Avengers All Out War, and Avengers Forever, unquote. The comic shop owner also admitted that customers are finally rejecting the idea of picking up a new series when DC and Marvel decide to renumber books. He asserted, quote, the renumbering of first issues has had fewer and fewer returns for sales over time, and is not boosting sales numbers nearly as much as in years past. Well, it could be a sign that maybe people are just getting sick and tired of this current crop of writers and what they're putting out there. Could be that, and I think you are. I think it's a pretty clear statement that they're saying stop with the messaging, stop with the propaganda. Give us a good story. Stop trying to wokeify our childhood. You know. While new comic book sales are floundering, he does note that his customers are hungry for back issues. Quote, back issues are red hot sellers. People want to buy comics. I bought an Amazing Spider-Man collection from the 70s and 80s a few weeks ago, and those are flying out the door almost as fast as I can get them priced, unquote. He also shared, quote, I wish we could get more Iron Man and Hulk issues into the comic store from the 70s and 80s. We have customers who want them. They move on in a hurry if and when I manage to get more in, unquote. This goes to show you that people are more interested in the older stuff than in the newer stuff that's being pushed on them. Lamberti's admission that about new comic book sales comes shortly after Marvel Comics writer Steve Orlando admitted new comic book sales across the industry are quote unquote struggling. And we of course covered this article. You know, this article was from what, a couple weeks ago. The Steve Orlando post on Twitter. This thing was covered a couple weeks ago, of course, by many of us commentators. While responding to a fan asking about the sales of his Scarlet Witch series, Orlando shared on Twitter, um, quote, sales are struggling alongside the whole industry. Right now, we'll hopefully get to 10. To get even 15 issues, sales will need to continue to climb. Mm-hmm. Orlando's comment was especially illuminating, given Scarlet Witch had been one of the top-selling comics since it debuted back in January, according to ICV2's Comic Hub system. The book was the eighth most sold book units in April. However, it has since fallen to 37th in May. Yeah, it's one of those things where once the novelty wears off, then if you don't have a good story to really sustain yourself, then it's all for naught. You know, you know. Orlando isn't the only one to admit comic book sales are struggling. DC Studios CEO James Gunn shared as much in a recent interview with Michael Rosenbaum, and we've covered this last few days too. Last week, Gunn said, "quote I started out. I wanted to write comic books when I was younger. If I was writing comic books today, I'd probably be unhappy because so few people are reading comic books. Ever occur that maybe because what you're writing is not appealing to them as a whole, you know, you're just trying to cater to one very loud minority, and this is what happens, you know." Um, Quote, "But I would probably be really happy with what my job was. I'd enjoy that storytelling process," unquote, he said. "So that's what's important to me. I just happen to be good at directing because directing takes a lot of different weird talents that I do many of those things, but not all well," unquote. Hmm. And the fact that he's even pointed out that he doubled down on the whole idea of just continuing to write the same stories that people are being turned off by, um, that plays into a little bit too. And let's see, we're at 22 minutes, so let's see. I'm gonna see if I can find another story to do. I'm gonna see if maybe we can find another story to do either here or maybe even on bleeding bleeding cool, or bleeding fool. Let's see. Now that I'm pretty much caught up here, let's see what else is new. Hmm. Okay, we'll go with this one here. This one looks kind of interesting. More of a kind of a release type story here. All right, so let's take a look at this one. Legendary Rabbit Ronin Usagi Yojimbo is back at Dark Horse Comics. Article by John Pallister, published June 24th, which was this past Saturday. So, Dark Horse Comics partners with Dogu Publishing and renowned creator Stan Sakai for the return of the legendary Rabbit Ronin in Usagi Yojimbo, Ice and Snow. The new series features Usagi's newfound cousin, Yukichi, as well as the return of fan favorite villain, Jay. Along with writing, art, and lettering by Sakai, the series also features colors by Hi-Fi Color Design. So here's, I guess, the latest issue right here. Dark Horse. Usagi and Yukichi are still in the snowy mountaintops of northern Japan. Following Stan Sakai's Usagi Yojimbo story arc, quote unquote, the Green Dragon, they are led to the hut of a strange hermit who follows them to spend the night at her home to shelter from the snowstorm. Meanwhile, the maniacal Jay and his familiar Keiko are on Usagi's trail when they stumble upon a bandit lair and subdue a band of cutthroats and thieves. Along with the main cover, A, by Stan Sakai, fans can also collect two other variant covers for issue number one by artist Scotty Young and another by artist Paulo Rivera. Usagi Yojimbo, Ice and Snow number 1 of 5, will hit comic shops September 27th, 2023. So about 3 months away. And is available for pre-order now at your local comic shop. Wonder if this one might be selling better than and of course Dark Horse has been known over the years to do to do that one went pretty quick, by the way, too. So has been known to do like some anime adaptations. Now this one though, I think is actually an original piece of work. So all right, well this one might spark some conversation. Why Marvel and DC allow creators to proxy attack successful. All right, so why Marvel and DC allow creators to proxy attack successful indie publishers. Article by Victor James, published earlier today. If you're an old school comics fan like me, you must have asked yourself just why these multi billion dollar companies would allow their creators to constantly attack fans and independent comic companies. Artists, colorists, writers, editors, all the major positions in the comic book industry employed by the big two go out of their way to antagonize fans and, to their detriment, sour any chance they had of making money by being hired by these um, or sour any chance they had making money by being hired by these rising indie companies. And here they got, of course, the iStone info here. And perhaps that's been the goal of the big two all along. The useful idiot theory. We all watched as the Comics Broke Me drama played out. During that time, current and former creators complained about the unfair business practices and left many of them broke, destitute, and or out of work. Yet, even with all this reflection, none of these creators seemed to see what was right before their eyes this entire time, and that was by design. In one of the latest videos from Comics Matter with ya boy Zach, YouTuber and indie comic creator Richard C. Meyer examined why it's always the usual suspects of the comic industry attacking his company, Splato Comics, the Rippaverse, All Cap Comics, which I believe is Ethan's company, and other indie comic companies who actually pay at a higher page rate than Marvel and DC. In the video, Zach reads um, from a community post that begins to make sense of the entire comics broke me hashtag movement and answers why the comic industry is in such a dire state. He reads, quote, in an open market, if Ripa and Zach pay a higher page rate than Marvel, oh, there ain't no doubt if about it, we do. Artists could use that info to get more money from Marvel. But if Marvel knows Mark, in parentheses Brooks, would never work for Ripa, and Ripa would have no desire to hire him, and Marvel doesn't have to raise his rate, nor that of anybody displaying similar outspoken ideology. Unquote. So basically, the idea is that what they're saying is the corporates um, let them attack, you know, let their creators attack the indie guys, you know, to keep them in check, keep them in line. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Zach then points out the fact that even with all the hatred from mainstream creators, none ever say that independent comic companies don't pay at a higher page rate, at higher page rates, or never pay their talent on time. Common complaints against the big two found in the comics broke me hashtag. If there were such complaints about indie companies, I am sure we would have heard of them by now from the Whisper Network. Yeah. Well, I mean, and we even covered an article yesterday where Alan Nickerson had pointed out that he's hasn't been getting paid his royalties. You know, we talked a bit about that, how over the years, you know, Ethan Van Sciver and others, you know, Jerry Siegel, even going back to the Golden Age, Jerry Siegel and Joe Schuster, well as Bill Finger, not, you know, getting, not one, not getting the credit they deserve, and two, not getting paid the way they should. So, that then goes on to say, quote, notice who is being isolated. What I'm trying to say is just as billionaires used the culture wars to shift fire away from them onto others, to take the spotlight off them and put it onto others, so as the big two used the culture war, unquote. As Zach explains, Marvel and DC are well aware their creators are attacking small businesses. They are also aware that indie comic companies put their page rates to shame. So like useful idiots, Marvel and DC allow their creators to attack the very revenue source they could have used as leverage to demand higher pay. The idea is being that these comic creators, being the useful idiots that they are, shoot themselves in the foot. Zach concludes, quote, these are grade school shunning techniques meant to delegitimize and ostracize alternate paths of success. It's because they, in parentheses here, Marvel and DC, approve of what they are doing because it helps them in negotiations with the freelancers that work for them. Unquote. Yeah, but what's going to happen when the freelancers start getting smart? You know, some of those freelancers might either try to go out on their own or again, go to always chalked the Big Two's failure to rein in their creators to cowardice, fear of the mob, or of being canceled. Yet, the useful idiot theory makes far more sense. Marvel and DC want these activists to be themselves to lower their overall bottom line and to keep the talent cheap. And when you think about it further, you see just how successful this tactic has been. Hashtag comics broke me. For a moment, it seemed something was clicking in mainstream comic creators. During the hashtag comics broke me drama, creator Will Robson started a Discord called the quote Comics Creator Fairness Society unquote to band creators together for quote unquote fair rate wages. Not a fan of that name, given his connotations, but I can at least give credit to creators for seeing there was a problem to address. Hey, JR. Hail Lord Xenu. Hail Prince Xena, our only true saviors. Well, thanks for popping in, my friend. If you haven't already, if you can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions best of my ability. Anyways, blah, 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 blah. All right, so, but like the idiom goes, you can't see the forest for the trees. Just as the creators were in the initial stages of discussing publishing options and other solutions to escape their financial rut, Heather Antos joined the Discord and immediately poured the cold water of social justice into the chat. Ethan Van Sciver of All Caps Comics has a great video analyzing this exchange and explaining how the Discord is doomed to fail before it even starts because for the activists, their ideology is far more important than their success. Will these creators ever stop getting in their own way? Probably not, I would say, based on what we've seen. Will they ever realize that they are burning their bridges to success with indie companies while the big two they complained about for weeks silently encourage them to do it? Useful idiots have been known to see the errors of their ways. Usually it's far too late by then. I got my novel, Fiasco of Adventures here. Okay. Alrighty then. So there we go. And now we're coming up on the 40-minute mark. So I think it would be a good time to, let's see. Yeah, 39 minutes and counting. So, anyways, we will go ahead and I think we can go ahead and. All right, so I think it'd be a good time to start doing the wrestling wrap up here. All right, so first I will go over some, of course, WWE news, real quick with the results from Raw last night, of course. The opening match on Raw, Ricochet defeated Shinsuke Nakamura. Ronda Rousey defeated Raquel Rodriguez. And then Dominic Mysterio got a victory over Akira Tozawa, heading into his match with Cody Rhodes this Saturday in England at the at the Money in the Bank this Saturday. In a non-title match, Intercontinental Champion Gunther defeated Sami Zayn. In a non-title match, Finn Balor defeated NXT Champion Carmelo Hayes. And Cody Rhodes defeated Damian Priest as Cody Rhodes heads into his match against Dominic Mysterio this Sunday at Money in the Bank. Now, some interesting stuff's been going on in the WWE. So, apparently there's now a little bit of strife going on between Vince and Hunter, Paul Levesque, as Vince has been slowly regaining control of creative. There's been some talk that some of the changes that have been made on some of the recent Raws and SmackDowns were his doing, and I think from the sounds of it, sounds like Triple H might, Paul Levesque, Hunter Assembly, however you want to say it, maybe getting a little annoyed at his father-in-law's interference. And it's also leading to, and it's bleeding out into the talent roster as well, as many of the talent are on edge because, again, ever since Triple H had taken over creative, a lot of things have been better the way he's been running, and the talent likes it. It's been more successful. But now that Vince is seemingly coming back into the fold a little bit more, people are once again, becoming unhappy. So, hey, Rick. Thank you for the like and the share. Hopefully we get some more friendly people here. So that's all WWE news I have for you guys. So in terms of AEW, we do have, the fallout from Forbidden Door coming up tomorrow on Dynamite. Let's see. As on tomorrow's Dynamite, let's see now. Already signed for tomorrow night in a tornado tag match. Darby Allin and Sting takes on Sammy Guevara and Chris Jericho, the Jericho Appreciation Society. The final quarterfinal match of the women's bracket for the Owen Hart Foundation tournament will be happening, as the finalists from last year's tournament will be taking each other on, Ruby Soho and Dr. Britt Baker. And in a reversal of roles, where last year Britt Baker went in as the heel and Ruby Soho went in face, now the reversal roles, Ruby Soho will be the heel representing the Outcast, and Britt Baker will be the face. Now, as I understand it, I believe the winner of this match will, of course, be taking on Sky Blue in the semifinals. The other semifinals, it's Ring of Honor Women's World Champion Athena taking on New Japan's women's strong open weight champion Willow Nightingale. So this could be a very interesting, in the other semifinal. In a first round match for the Blind Eliminator Tag Team Tournament that's been recently announced, the winner of this tournament will get a shot at FTR, from what I understand. The one team that's been more teams are going to be announced in this blind eliminated tag team tournament tomorrow night. But the one team that is announced will be in action as MJF and Adam Cole will be teaming up to participate in the tournament. And also signed for tomorrow night, Tomohiro Ishii of New Japan will be taking on John Moxley of the Blackpool Combat Club. That should be a very nasty, hard-hitting matchup. So there you go with that. Things continue to play out on their Canadian tour going on for the next few weeks here, for the next week or so. So with that, that's all I have for you in terms of the wrestling wrap-up. So why don't we start to wind things down by talking about this day in each history. So today being Tuesday, June 27th, 2023. Let's take a look back at this day in Nietzsche history. History! First off, we head back 50 years ago. As on this date, 50 years ago today, Mushi Productions' Belladonna of Sadness would premiere in Berlin. Mushi Productions' Belladonna of Sadness, which is an adult animated production. This is again 50 years ago, mind you. So, Belladonna of Sadness is a 1973 Japanese adult animated art film produced by the animation studio Mushi Productions and distributed by Nippon Herald Films. It is the third and final entry in Mushi Productions' adult-oriented anime-rama trilogy, following 1001 Nights and Cleopatra. Its initial release was a commercial failure and caused the studio to go bankrupt. The film was remastered in 2016 by Cinelicus Pix and has received generally favorable reviews from contemporary film critics. It follows the story of Jean, a peasant woman who makes a Faustian deal with the devil after she is raped by the local nobility on the night of her wedding day. It is notable for its erotic, violent, and psychedelic imagery and considered a cult film. So this is an anime film, adult anime film. Sounds pretty rated R at the very least. So 50 years ago today, Belladonna of Sadness premiered in Berlin. Moving on to the next piece of Nietzsche history here. On this date in 2008, Walt Disney Pictures' WALL-E premiered on this date in, I believe it's 2008, 15 years ago today. Let me have those right. Yeah. Well, yeah. Made its United States debut on this date 15 years ago today, after having premiered at the Greek Theater 4 days prior. So, on this date 15 years ago today, Walt Disney Pictures' WALL-E made its widespread United States premiere on this date 15 years ago today. And 2008 is just so nice that we're gonna hit it twice. As also on this date in 2008, Ring of Honor held its Battle for Supremacy event from the Montgomery County Fairgrounds in Dayton, Ohio. The main event saw Adam Pearce defeat Nigel McGuinness in a DQ in a championship versus championship match. Both men retained their championship, as of course most promotions would have. You can't change, or a title cannot change hands on on a DQ. Now this match came about at their previous event. A respect is earned to Adam Pearce. Revealed what was in the briefcase that was given to him by Larry Sweeney. NWA World Heavyweight Championship. Pearce won the title in October 2007, but was never recognized by Ring of Honor. After Sweeney forced the NWA World Heavyweight Championship into Ring of Honor World Champion Nigel McGuinness challenged him to a first title match. So this is at around the time in the mid 2000s when Adam Pearce, who is now, of course, an authority figure on Raw, was basically the top guy in the NWA. This of course was still before Billy Corgan obviously bought it in 2017. Other matches included Chris Hero defeating Roderick Strong, Kevin Steen and El Generico, who wrestle in the WWE now as Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, defeated the Age of the Fall members Jimmy Jacobs and Joey Matthews. Let's see. Necro Butcher defeated Austin Aries in a no DQ match. Eric Stevens defeated Bryan Danielson. Claudio Castagnoli won a triple threat match over Brent Albright and Jay Briscoe. Tyler Black, currently WWE World Champion Seth Rollins, defeated Delirious. And the opening match saw the team of Sweet and Sour Incorporated of Tink Toland and Shane Hagedorn, with Larry Sweeney in their corner, defeat Silas Young and Franklin. So on this date, 15 years ago, Ring of Honor's Battle of Supremacy. Wally, yep, Wally. And finally, on this date 5 years ago today, the 10th and final issue of Black Cloud from Image Comics went on sale on this date 5 years ago today. It sold for $3.99 and was actually, was that the final issue? I believe it was. It was the final issue. Okay. 10th and final issue of Black Cloud from Image Comics went on sale on this date 5 years ago today for $3.99, which is 28 pages. So with that, I thank everybody for being here tonight. Hope everybody enjoyed the show. Let's see. We'll be back here tomorrow night with more niche news. We're finally caught up with everything. Don't forget this Friday, of course, Tim Olson will be on with me to as we continue our look back at comics history, going back November 1939. We're looking at comics that went on sale from what was known at that time as Timely Comics, or eventually known as Marvel Comics. And I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Bye.